Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the weekly roundup podcast, video, whatever you want to call it. We're going to do things a little bit different this week. We have organized our show into segments, so we're going to hope that this works out. We hope that you guys like it. And let's jump to our first segment, which is called Picture Perfect Plays.
Oh, Ohtani got it! He got it! Number 40!
So starting us off for this week, we have Shohei Ohtani hitting his 40th home run of the year. Very good stuff from Shohei Ohtani. Andrew, what do you think about Shohei Ohtani's 40th home run?
That's insane. If you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, like what his cap of home runs would be, I would have told you maybe 35. And that was me being optimistic. I don't think anyone expected him to come out and do this.
Yeah, and nonetheless, he hit it during a game he pitched in. And he pitched extremely well tonight.
Yeah, he did great. He's just the full package. This game is probably going to put him at like 8.5 wins above replacement.
Yeah.
He's just running away with it right now.
And that's either his 10th or 11th win. I forget off the top of my head. But he went 8 innings in this game. And he could have pitched a complete game. He was only at like 85 pitches, I think, or 90 pitches. And he could have gotten that 9th inning.
Yeah, well, baseball's supposed to be a team sport, so you got to start getting other players involved.
Very good stuff from Shohei. He will be the MVP of this year. He's got to be.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone, especially since Vlad Guerrero just kind of dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like who else would it be?
That's a good question. I couldn't tell you.
To give Joe Adell an opportunity to swing the bat. 1-1. Adell.
Also, in Angels news, we have Joe Adell hitting a grand slam for his very first home run of this season. Andrew, have you seen that clip?
Yeah, I just watched it before we started recording, so I did catch up on it, and I'm just happy to see Joe Adell doing well. He had such a rough year last year. He was more likely to have a home run bounce off of his head than actually hit one.
Yeah, he looked rough, very, very rough last season. And that time in AAA has done him very, very good.
Yeah, a lot of improvement. Got to be happy if you're an Angels fan. Like, this guy looks like he's going to be the real deal.
Yeah, and that's what everybody's hoping. He's hit a lot of balls hard, and he's had a very good eye for the zone.
Yeah, those are all big steps ups from last year. I mean, you couldn't have done really any worse than he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was about as bad as it could be. So anything would be improvement, but this isn't just him going from really bad to kind of bad. It's a big step up. He's looking like a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, he definitely passes the eye test this season.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, next clip that we're going to play, it's going to be Freddie Freeman. He hit for the cycle in only 6 innings today against the Marlins.
The lefty starter as this one's whacked to center. That ball is deep. That ball is at the wall. That ball is gone. It's the cycle for Freddie Freeman.
Wow. I don't need, like, that's so impressive. I mean, now I want to see him do it in 4 innings next game. So.
Has that ever been done? A 4-inning cycle?
No, I mean, there's something in the back of my head that says that Trey Turner's probably done it since he had so many cycles.
That was our very first show. I think that was our very first talking point. Trey Turner hitting for the cycle for his 3rd time in his career, right?
Yeah, just that guy's a cycle machine. I would like to see a clip of Freddie Freeman's triple, so I still haven't seen the clip for the cycle yet.
So it was weird because his first at bat he hit for a double, and then he advanced to 3rd on the throw home because what was it? Jorge Soler got thrown out at home. And I was like, there's no way they gave him a triple on that, was it? And then he hits a ball in the exact same spot the next at bat, and it wasn't even down the line. It was like in between the first baseman and the second baseman, and they're like shifting in the outfield for some reason.
Oh, man.
And he gets to 3rd on it. It's like, dude, Freddie Freeman's got some wheels.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, that guy's huge. What, he like 6'5", 250 pounds?
He's a big guy. I don't think he weighs that much. He's pretty thin, but
It's wiry.
He's got some pop in that bat, as you could tell from that last home run that went to dead center.
Yeah, that guy's. Yeah, I mean, he's just a player that's been getting better every single year.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of home runs, we have Tommy Pham hitting the longest home run of this season. It went 486 feet in Coors Field against the Rockies.
Pham drives one to deep left field. That ball is very gone. Oh my goodness, it's out onto the concourse.
Yeah, I was watching this one live. That was an absolute moonshot. And
like that was Pete Alonso territory, like home run derby territory.
I know. And you would think Pham would be the type of guy that could do that. He's a
When
little guy.
you told me that, I was like, no, not Tommy Pham. Like
he's
maybe
like
Tatis. I mean, no, not
Machado,
Tommy Pham.
like
Will Myers, yeah.
Eric Hosmer.
Anything
like
other but Tommy Pham?
Yeah, he's far down the list of like guys you'd be thinking that you think would hit that. No, it went over the left field stadium stands into the concession stand area.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I don't know if you remember, what was it, 2019 when Trevor Story hit one under the concourse there, and that was down the line. That was like a 500-foot shot. No,
Yeah.
he hit the concourse in left center. Like Tommy Pham just nailed that ball.
yeah, there's a in the clip you can see the fan just looking at the ball and
Yeah.
he's just in utter shock. He doesn't even go for it. He's just like, that's not supposed to be here.
Oh, that clip is just an anomaly of some sort. That's a little teaser for
That's
some
like
of y'all.
that's like the Colorado like Twilight Zone area.
Moving on, we have very feel-good news this week with Tyler Gilbert. He threw a no-hitter in his first career start in the major leagues.
Yeah, I mean, that's a feel good story if you're not a Padre fan.
Yeah, that's right. He threw it against the Padres, and he plays for the Diamondbacks. Sorry, I didn't elaborate on that, but yeah.
Yeah, so this is his first career start, fourth career game. This is a great story, even if you're a Padre fan, because this guy's 27, getting his first taste of major league action, gets his first career start against a playoff team, one of the better hitting playoff teams, and throws a no hitter.
Center field. Marte. It's a no-hitter.
Yeah, and I thought he gave up a hit on that last at bat. Who hit it? Was that Tommy Pham?
Yeah.
It was Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham's just gonna keep popping up all over the place.
Yeah, it wasn't
Maybe
even
this
a
is
cheap,
the Twilight Zone.
yeah, there wasn't even a cheap no hitter either. The Padres were hitting him. They had a lot of hard hits on him. The Diamondbacks made some really good defensive plays. It wasn't like he was going against a team that was just completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, good for Tyler Gilbert, and hopefully this is a sign of good things to come.
Yeah, hopefully it's a jump start for his career.
Yeah, he was in the minors for so long, and we've talked a lot about the big disadvantages that minor league players have with pay and everything. So,
yeah,
I mean, not only does he get a no hitter, but he's getting that $26,000 for the week paycheck.
Speaking of minor league pay, go to our Redbubble shop and buy the I Stand with Minor League Baseball Players t-shirt, logo, any of that. The proceeds from those will go to the minor leagues. Just in general, we're going to cater for the Inland Empire 66ers later on in the season. So go help us out with donating to that, or get yourself some merch, and that's what it'll go to. So I just had to do the shameless plug, Andrew.
No, you got to do it. That's like the opposite of a shameless plug. We're going to be, it's all going towards minor league players. So
yeah. And it's a good logo too. It's good looking.
It's a dope logo.
And the last of our picture perfect plays is Tim Anderson hitting a walk-off home run in the Field of Dreams game. You can't write this.
Anderson hits it in the air to right, back at the wall, and the White Sox win it!
Like, you can't make up anything better than that, right?
No, and it's almost like they did write it. It looked exactly like the scene from The Sandlot when Buddy the Jet Rodriguez hit that home run.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fireworks are going off on the 4th of July. You get Tim Anderson coming around third base, dancing.
Doing the oh no, it's over, man.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so cool.
Yeah, that Field of Dreams game was amazing, and that'll be our little segue into the announcements for this week. The Field of Dreams game in general, it was amazing. Yankees versus White Sox, so much energy, so much, like, there was just a good atmosphere around the whole entire ballpark, around the whole game. It was just so fun to watch.
I know. I mean, of course it's going to be the White Sox, right? It's the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah.
The movie, right? It was all about the Black Sox. So, and then you're bringing in the Yankees, another classic franchise, and the Yankees lose. It's always a good day when the Yankees lose.
Duh! Yankees lose. That's always good to hear.
Oh, man.
But in that game, we had Jose Abreu hitting the first MLB home run in Iowa.
Yeah, and probably the first home run into a cornfield too.
Not a stat that you're going to see on many stat sheets, but
No, yeah,
it's a stat nonetheless.
it's going to be on Statcast. Cornfield home runs. Jose Abreu won.
And the ball was carrying really well during that entire game.
Yeah, it was really hard to get a read on the field just
Mm-hmm.
by on for like ever. Like when you're looking at it.
I lost you there for a second, but I'm guessing you're saying the field, it just seemed a little awkward with the dimensions and everything.
Yeah, it just looked like the corn just went on forever. Like
Yeah.
like you hit the ball, it's like I could like get a sense of distance.
I mean, it was no Yankee Stadium, but it did feel pretty tight.
It did, yeah. And that might just be like a side effect of being in like an ocean of corn.
Yeah. And did you hear the story of how they kept the field looking nice with the corn stalks?
No, how'd they do that?
Okay, so they had a storm come in like a day before the game, a couple days before the game, and like they had some of the corn stalks fall over, like a good portion of them. So they just bought a bunch of carbon fiber rods to put to tie to the corn stalks just so that they would look nice for the game.
Oh, they had someone out there just like propping up the corn.
Yeah, they were just propping up all the corn.
Oh no, the Field of Dreams is a lie.
But also in that game we had Aaron Judge hitting 2 home runs. We had who else hit home runs? Giancarlo Stanton. He hit the big go-ahead home run in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
However, that did not stand for very long.
No.
But when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my God, this game!" Because it was like White Sox domination for the first like majority of the game, and then you just kind of had that feeling that something was going to happen.
Yeah, you could just like sense it when the momentum's changing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when the Yankees came back with that Giancarlo Stanton home run at the end, I really thought they had that in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you could just never count out Tim Anderson.
And I do want to pose a question. In that game, we saw Liam Hendricks and Craig Kimbrell both pitch. To you, who should be the closer for the White Sox?
Oh, that's such a tough one. Probably based on this year's numbers alone, Kimbrell.
That's what I was thinking, because from what I've seen of Hendricks, he has not been that great as of late.
Yeah, and that just might be because Hendricks was like on the Athletics for so long and kind of just hidden as a name. So maybe I just don't give him enough respect.
And by no means Kimbrell or Hendricks is bad, but I just think Kimbrell's just been better this year.
Yeah, I mean Kimbrell had like the last 2 years that were really weak, but other than that, he's been arguably the best closer of the last 14 years.
Yeah. Kimbrell stumbled the last couple of years, but yeah, he's really come back hard this season. Comeback player of the year potential.
Oh, definitely. Probably a future Hall of Famer if he keeps it up too.
I hope he does. Anything else on the Field of Dreams game that we saw the other day?
No, just super exciting. Can't wait for the next one.
And the next one there will be as we get to talk about the Field of Dreams game 2.0. That's what I titled it. I don't know why. It'll be the sequel to the Field of Dreams game movie, whatever you want to call it, the movie game. I think it's Game of the Year worthy, the White Sox and Yankees. But Field of Dreams game 2.0 will be the Cubs versus the Reds. So what do you think about that matchup?
I think that's a really interesting one. I could tell they're going with the classic franchises that have been around since the old age. I mean, the Reds and Chicago, they basically run the center of the country. I would have liked to have seen the Cubs and Cardinals.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think
it'll be a good matchup.
It'll be a good matchup for sure.
I don't think the Cardinals would pose a threat in that game. I think the Cardinals are not doing well in the next few seasons. I just don't see them turning it around.
No, they have they built their franchise around two older players now.
Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, and they're both struggling, right? Yeah,
and Arenado, I mean, I've been saying this for a couple of years. The guy can't hit out of Coors Field. He can hit, but he's not a 47 home run, 1,000 OPS guy like he was at Coors Field.
Yeah.
He's going to have a 320 on base, 500 slugging. He's not going to carry you to the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's well said. And Paul Goldschmidt too. He's out of Arizona. He's been a different guy.
Yeah, and that's just another player that's gotten older. And
that is true. He was a lot younger in Arizona.
yeah. Goldschmidt is having the aging issue more than Arenado, where Arenado just never was the player that he looked like from a stat line.
Yeah, the hourglass of time is not in the Cardinals' favor.
Yeah, undefeated by everyone but Barry Bonds.
Yeah, it would seem. And David Ortiz, you got to give that to him.
Yeah, David Ortiz had
David
that
Ortiz
last
was
year.
like 40 and he was hitting 30 bombs a year.
It's because he was wearing those sunglasses at night.
I think that does help. Yeah. I mean, he was never playing first base, so he didn't need to not have him.
No, he just hung out in the dugout.
Speaking of other first basemen, that was a weird segue. We have Chris Davis. He's in the news for retiring. He signed a very big contract with the O's. I don't know how many years ago, and that was after he had a very good season. And then after he signed that contract, he fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
Stat-wise, not literally.
Yeah. I mean, that would explain his stats too. So
Yeah, it would.
Because it looks like a person who got space jammed, who had their power stolen.
Creating a Monstars team for the MLB.
Yeah, he went from being a 57 home run guy to, I think, hitless in 51 straight at bats.
Yeah, he had, what is that, the longest hitless streak, right?
Yeah,
in MLB
time.
history.
Yeah,
and then he broke out of it against the Red Sox. He had 2 hits in that game. It was like a single and a double.
And then I think he went immediately like over 21.
Yeah.
After that, so
yeah, Foolish Baseball has a very good video on that. Statistically, it shouldn't have been that long of a hitless streak. He got robbed of some hits there.
He was hitting the ball hard. Yeah, he had hard line drives, right field, left field. He had some games where he had like 4 hard hits.
Yeah, but he's calling it quits after how many seasons in the majors has he had?
I think I want to say it was 13 years that he actually played, but he's been under contract for longer than that.
Mm-hmm. With the Rangers and Orioles, right?
Yeah. So out of all years he's been under contract, he is played 13 seasons, 295 home runs, 780 RBIs. He had an insane peak where, over 2 years basically.
Was that 2013?
Yeah, 2012, 2013.
Okay.
He had 86 home runs over 2 years, averaged 47 home runs, 121 RBIs. Really good 2 years.
And he was like one of the faces of baseball in that time. Like he was the face of the O's.
Yeah, he was. So it was a really bad contract. Like we can come out and say it. He signed the contract in 2016, right?
Yeah.
He already had a 2015 year where he hit 196, the 300 on base percentage.
And they still signed that contract? Oof.
Yeah.
They deserve it at that point.
Yeah, he had a comeback season at age 29 where he hit 47 home runs and hit 260. But the peripherals were already dramatically falling. So this was a guy that was already on his way out.
That's just a brutal contract. And it really spelled a downfall for the O's, right?
Yeah, it did. It kind of reminds me of the Albert Pujols contract in a bit.
Yeah.
We were briefly talking about that. So Chris Davis signs his major, huge contract in 2016, and over that period, from 2016 to 2021, he makes a total of $110 million for -2 wins above replacement.
-2, man. Like you're just putting him. They had him on the bench for that whole period of time, right?
Some of it, he played a majority of the seasons.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought they benched him after so long. I was like, how can they even play this guy? They just should have just ate the contract because no way in hell somebody's going to take that contract.
Yeah. So
unless they trade him away and keep the contract, that's the only way you're probably going to get some more WAR out of him is by him not being on the team.
But we can make this interesting comparison. For the same period of time that he was under contract, Albert Pujols made $165 million. It was -0.6 wins below replacement.
Oof.
So for $55 million, is it worth the 1.4 WAR? Would the Angels have been better off having Chris Davis?
They probably would have. He would have been a little bit more mobile than Albert, and then the aging Albert. Hey, maybe he would have beat out some infield singles. Maybe that lowered right field wall. Maybe that would have helped Chris Davis get some more home runs, even though he was playing in the most hitter-friendly ballpark in the league.
I don't know. Just like the cost per win in free agency is $8 million a year, and Chris Davis cost $9 million less per year than Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
So you're probably talking, a win or so a year.
All right. That's enough Chris Davis talk. Chris Davis was bad. We know. all right, I'm not even going to try to segue into anything. I'm not going to make a stupid comment because this is more serious news.
Yeah.
We have the Trevor Bauer trial. It began earlier this week, and he's pleading the fifth. So he's choosing to remain silent for the duration of the trial.
Yeah, he's traditionally people choose the fifth, and heads up, I'm not a lawyer, so
Neither of us are.
I
Neither
could
of us
totally
are.
have
We're just going with what we've been told. So
yeah. When you plead the fifth, this is when you don't want to make a comment that could potentially incriminate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty, so there's not really much you can take from it.
It's just letting the more experienced person, as in the lawyer, take over for the trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we don't really have a whole lot of news on the trial other than it's starting and it's still going on. It might take a while, but other than that, we just don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll keep you updated on anything we find out in next week's roundup. But for now, that's all we got on the Trevor Bauer situation. In other news, we have the MLB is reportedly proposing a $180 million luxury tax threshold, as well as a $100 million salary floor to the MLB Players Association. So that's really, really good news for the league.
Yeah. I mean, just to start off, I don't think the Players Association is going to go for it.
Oh, yeah. Probably not.
They'll be 100% behind the salary floor.
Yeah.
But they've always been against having salary caps, for more money for more players.
And I'm going to stop you for a second. Can you please explain out what each of those do for some of the lesser educated folk that don't know about the luxury tax and the salary floor?
So we'll start off with the luxury tax. And what is being proposed is that if you have a team that is being paid over $180 million, that for every dollar that's over 180 million, there's going to be a tax that's attributed to them. And so let's say like you have a team like the Los Angeles Angels that have a $280 million payroll, they would be $100 million over. And so for the initial bit of money, like, because it's like margins, like the US tax bracket, for like, let's say for like the first $25 million, that would be at a 25% tax rate. And then you'll hit another level. And that would be, I didn't see that proposal in the news, but hypothetically, it could be 40%. So you could have a team like the Dodgers who have a $280 million payroll end up paying in the vicinity of $400 million for their team.
So it's essentially just lowering the luxury tax, right?
Yeah, it's lowering the luxury tax.
Because what was it before? It was like 200 something?
210 right now.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so that would be a big hit to those bigger market teams. The Dodgers, really, they would get extremely taxed, and I still don't think they would try to bring down their payroll. I don't see that in them.
No, yeah, the Dodgers have that's a whole other episode for how their TV deal works. But there are currently, over the new proposed payroll, there are 7 teams that have over $180 million payroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for the payroll floor, there are, I think, 13 teams that are below the floor.
Yeah, and the payroll floor would set a minimum for teams to be able to spend on players so that you have like this certain level of production, I guess. I don't know how you want to put it, but the certain level of quality for a team to have. So you have teams like that are tanking, like the Rays. The Rays aren't tanking; they're doing pretty well, but they've notoriously been a smaller money team. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tampa Bay is number 26, so they'd have to bump up their payroll 30 million with their $70 million payroll. And you have the Orioles, who have half their payroll being given to Chris Davis, and they're at $52 million.
Stop talking about Chris Davis. The 2 Chris Davises in the league are just they're all over the place, man.
What this is going to do is it's going to cost up and coming teams to reinvest more in their younger players. Mm-hmm. And
hopefully in the minors.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe this salary floor will take the teams that don't want to spend a ton on the majors. Maybe they'll be like, okay, we have this ton of money that we got to spend, and just throw it out to the minor leagues and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if you have to have a major league contract that it goes towards, or if minor league contracts aren't part of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 100%. You would think that there's some different ways you can get creative with the money.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how it goes in the new, what is it called? The new negotiations that are going on this offseason.
Yeah, the CBA negotiations.
Yeah, that's it.
And hopefully we don't have another strike.
Yeah, that's what we're really hoping for, but it's not looking great.
Not looking great. Oh.
All right. We're going to move on to our next segment that we have planned out, and this one is called the Weekly Statistical Anomaly. So, Andrew, what do you have for this week's Statistical Anomaly?
So we're going to go over the 2015 Astros player Evan Gattis, who had 11 triples. 11 of his 12 career triples came that year.
11 triples in a season for Evan Gattis. And if you guys don't know who Evan Gattis is, he's this big burly catcher for the Astros. What was he, like 270, 280?
Yeah.
And he wasn't even that tall. He was just big dude.
He looks like they found him up in Seattle cutting down like trees in the rainforest.
He looks like a lumberjack, yeah.
Like they just stuck him behind home plate. You're a catcher now.
And when he swung the bat, he looked like a lumberjack too. Because he didn't wear any batting gloves. He just had this weird hack at the ball and was so aggressive. And
yeah, it looked like they just caught, like that's what they. I still to this day think that's where they got him. They found him there. Like he swings that axe really well.
Yeah, but 11 triples in a season for a catcher, nonetheless, that's hard to do. But for a catcher, that's Evan Gattis.
Yeah, and his beard's so big, you think that as he's running, that would just catch too much wind.
Yeah, the aerodynamics are terrible on that.
Yeah, he's not a very aerodynamic guy at all.
Oh my god! Like, what are some other players that come to mind that you've seen like hit triples like that and they just barely make it? Because Evan Gattis made it 11 times. Like who barely makes it in that category?
If we're talking like huge guys that you'd never expect to hit a triple, I think of Benji Molina's cycle back in the day.
in Boston, right?
Yeah.
When he hit it into the triangle, right?
Yeah. That's the only place he could have hit it.
And he barely made it still. They almost threw him out at third.
I know. Yeah, that's man, yeah, Evan Gattis, he's definitely in that category.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about Freddie Freeman earlier. He was trucking along the bases, getting that triple for the cycle, and he made it by quite a bit too.
Yeah. I mean, Freddie Freeman looks like an athlete. Evan Gattis and Benji Molina do not look like athletes.
All right, that's this week's Weekly Statistical Anomaly. Hope you guys enjoyed that segment. We'll have something new each week for that. All right, moving on to our next segment, we have the Weekly Injury Report. So for this week's injury report, we have, what do we have, like 6 or 7 people on the injury report. These are the bigger name guys. I don't think you're going to hear many of the lesser known guys, but we pick and choose.
Yeah. And,
go ahead.
It's going to be kind of a tradition. We expect to have one angel on the injury report every week.
Of course, you can't go without it. We'll get to him eventually, but the first one that we're going to talk about is Kyle Tucker for the Astros. He's going to the IL for the health and he's on the health and safety protocol, however you want to say that. It's basically just not disclosing the injury.
Yeah, so it sounds like COVID, but without wanting to say it's COVID.
Yeah.
But who knows? He has the right to privacy, I guess. So
that sounds so much like the NHL's whatever they do for an injury. You know what that is? Like, where with the NHL's policy for injuries?
Like they don't disclose it, yeah.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing to me, is that they go, oh, he has an upper body injury. He has a lower body injury. What does that mean? That can be a multitude of things.
Yeah, it's like, where does it hurt? Point to the
upper body. That doesn't narrow it down at all. Well, okay. Thanks, NHL. Our second injury on the injury report, we have George Springer, Mr. Made of Glass, going into the IL for the 3rd time this season. He has a grade 1 sprain in his left knee.
Yeah. This guy is on the IL more than like any star player I can remember. And it feels like it should be a lot more than 3.
Yeah.
Probably because he hasn't gotten going at all this year.
Yeah.
And
can we take a look at the injury counter right here? For George Springer right here? Yeah, you see it right here? Yeah, we got it right there.
I'm gonna need that fact check. That looks a little low. So
but Springer just hasn't stayed healthy, and with that contract that he signed with the Blue Jays, that's not at all what they wanted.
No. Oh man. Like when you start seeing guys on the wrong side of 30 get injured this many times with this many different injuries, you start to wonder how much they can actually stay healthy in the future.
Mm-hmm. And a healthy George Springer is such a great addition to any lineup.
Yeah. and unhealthy George Springer.
It's a bad one.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to talk about another guy who's had some health issues in the past, and he's continued to have some. Drew Pomeranz, he's having a season-ending injury. He had a torn flexor tendon in his arm. I think you said it was like a forearm, right?
Yeah, it was his forearm. He's been having problems with his forearm all year. We'll see how well he comes back from this injury. This guy's had a very injury-plagued career. It didn't seem to affect his performance. So he'd be in the middle of a shutdown inning and then be taken out for an injury with no real noticeable indication from anyone but the trainer that something was wrong.
Yeah, he just pitches through it.
Yeah. He had a 1.8 ERA this year and was just constantly dealing with an injury this whole season.
And he pitched extremely well last year, right?
Yeah. Last year he didn't allow a run until the last week of the season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what was his final ERA like? Point.
Yeah, I think he allowed 3 runs, so it ended up being like 1.1 or something.
He allowed 3 runs in his last.
I know.
Oh, come on, Drew. That's a shame. The next injury that we're going to cover is Chris Bassett. So this one goes back to the game that he played. What was that? Yesterday, a couple days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. Really scary situation. Took 100-mile-an-hour fastball or line drive off his face.
Yeah, and he's to undergo for facial fractures after being struck by that line drive. He's undergoing surgery for that. So we wish him the best. You don't like to see any pitcher get hit in the head like that.
No, yeah. Wish you the best. No long-term damage, and that you come back as strong as ever.
Yeah, and you saw the A's manager, Bob Melvin, come out of the dugout and ask Matt Olson where he got hit in the head. And he's like, right here, like on the ear. And it just did not look good. It did not sound good. So, yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say.
Yep, just get well soon, man.
Yeah. We have that Angel that you were talking about on the IL, the injury report. It's Patrick Sandoval. He is likely done for this season due to a lumbar spine stress reaction. So I'm pretty sure that's just a stress fracture to your spine. If what I read is true, which is really bad because Patrick Sandoval has been a great standout in the Angels rotation ever since he took the reins after Shohei Ohtani got lost on the subway with Kurt Suzuki.
Oh yeah, what has been going on with the Angels training staff?
We don't know.
These injuries they're not like your standard like, oh, you pulled a hamstring.
Thank you. Alex Cobb has been out for like a month with like he said he had a blister and then it turns into wrist inflammation. How does that happen?
Who do they have? Did they get someone's name wrong? And it's been like one of those like my cousin Vinny things. He's like, I'm a real trainer.
Yeah, it's like Catch Me If You Can, where he's just pretending to be a pilot, right?
Yes, you have a lower lumbar spine stress fracture.
He goes on like WebMD. He's just reading the list of symptoms. He's just like, dartboard. Yep. That one. So the Angels training staff is not good right now. But we don't have the inside scoop, so maybe they are good. Maybe the Angels are just cursed. Speaking of a player who's gotten injured and has been a little cursed lately, is Cole Hamels. He's out for the season before even throwing a single pitch for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think if you are planning to make your first pitch in August and you're doing a comeback tour and then you get injured before you ever get to throw a pitch, it doesn't get to come out like be count as being out for the season. Mm-hmm. That's like a season that just never got started.
It just never got off the ground.
Yeah.
We saw Cole Hamels sign a $1 million deal. What was that, like a week ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It almost looks like the Dodgers are trying to sign any pitcher that the Padres might sign.
Yeah.
It's
been the Dodgers and Padres signing a lot of pitchers lately, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We keep alluding to stuff like that. We're really good at that, aren't we?
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all there is on Cole Hamels. He had a shoulder injury. That's he's been out for a lot of times in the last few years. So
wish him to come back. He's had a great career though. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him hang him up.
Yeah, we were talking about how he was a workhorse in his earlier part of his career.
Yeah, he had a really good long peak where he had I think it was a string of 7 straight seasons of 200 innings plus, 10 years, 180 innings plus, 160 wins, 120 losses, 3.4 ERA. Great career.
And on our last injury report person, we actually have somebody returning from the IL, and that is Chris Sale. He made his return, and he threw 5 innings, had 8 strikeouts, 0 walks, only gave up 2 earned runs, and he was coming off Tommy John.
Yeah, that's I mean, if you're a Red Sox fan, after how big of a tumble that you just took over the last 3 weeks, this has got to be just music to your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully Chris Sale doesn't walk by or accidentally say anything bad about the Angels training staff. I believe the curse could go from team to team.
Oh, man. But yeah, Chris Sale, he's the guy the Red Sox needed.
Yeah, and he had a really good interview after his start where he was talking about how he felt like the game was basically just ripped out of his hands and how he had kind of taken it for granted for his entire career. But now that he really couldn't play for the last 2 seasons, he was finally appreciating it for like the first time.
And he's been another guy that's been pretty durable in the past for like when he pitched for the White Sox, right?
Yeah, he had some huge ending years with like 300 strikeouts. He's kind of a really interesting Hall of Fame case. The guy's had something like 6 straight years of a top 5 Cy Young finish. I
haven't even thought about asking if Chris Sale's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think you got to. He's one of the most dominant pitchers of the era.
We're talking way down the line though.
Oh yeah, that's far away.
Moving on to our next segment, we have some players that are on the move. So we have 2 players that are on the move this week, and the first one is Jake Arrieta. He was DFA'd by the Cubs, right?
Yep, he was DFA'd by the Cubs, and the Padres, showing how much of a dire pitching need they are, they actually signed him. And the Padres have a very similar training staff to the Angels. Jake Arrieta made it through 3 innings before he had to leave the game with injury.
It's probably the same training staff, just driving up the freeway the couple hours there and back, every night.
It's the same guy. He just puts on a mustache when he goes to the Padres.
He's like, "Hello, I am training staff here. I am not the same as the Angels training staff. No, disregard this Angels jacket that I'm wearing."
Yeah, he's like, "Why are you speaking with that accent? You're Norwegian."
Yeah, but how desperate are the Padres?
Very desperate.
Very desperate. I mean, Jake Arrieta had a bad, it was pretty dang bad for the Padres, right?
I was happy. He was bad for the Cubs. He was bad today for the Padres. I saw him get removed, I couldn't tell if it was a manager's decision or injury, honestly.
Ooh, I don't want to be talking about him on next week's injury report.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, and then for our last person on the move, we have Felipe Vasquez. He's on the move from the Pirates over to the prison. He got sentenced in a Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. I had to make that joke because I've heard all about the Trevor Bauer ones and the trade deadline. Yeah. Okay. Back to it. He was sentenced in a Pennsylvania sexual assault case. That was from 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago. I mean, it's within I did a little research on it. Read a lawyer's report. It was within it was in the sentencing guidelines is how long the 2 to 4 years is. But he was found guilty of statutory rape with a minor who was under the age of 13. Yeah. Very serious offense.
Yeah, it is. And but on the brighter half of that, I do have to say that really opened up the door for another Pirates pitcher, Richard Rodriguez, right?
Yeah, Richard Rodriguez. Yeah, not to downplay.
And he got traded to the Braves later on.
Yeah, I mean that's a Pirates tradition. So
trade away all their good players. When are they ever going to be good again? They seem to always have something going on there to where it just screws them over.
When they have a salary floor, then they'll be forced to sign some of these guys.
Hope so.
Yeah, because it's like you can't get rid of Richard Rodriguez. We need someone that we can pay $6 billion.
Yeah, it sucks to see bad teams continue to suck.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to move on to a lighter note to finish off today's show. We have a milestone that somebody's hit, and it is Joey Votto. He got his 2,000th hit.
Yeah, that guy is something else. I think he got his 2,000th hit the other day. Then also the series had his 300th home run and his 1,000th RBI.
Yeah, and he had that home run streak that contributed to that.
Yeah, the guy's he might be comeback player of the year.
Oh yeah, that is true because he had a very bad season in 2020. I mean, there's so many comeback players of the year because 2020 was a bad season for a lot of players. Yeah,
you almost got to look back to 2019. Like it's not enough that he sucked in 2020. You got to suck in 2019 too.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Joey Votto. That guy's just gotten on base so much in his career. I think the last I checked is that he was coming in on 3,300 times on base his career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's getting up there on the all-time list.
Ooh, I think I just came up with. I think I just thought of a statistical anomaly that we could use in the future. You know that Joey Votto stat that I'm thinking of?
Oh, which one? I got like 10.
The pop-up one.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
We'll elaborate that. We'll elaborate that later, hopefully. But that'll do it for this week's weekly roundup. Andrew, do you have anything else to add?
No, we covered all the topics. It was a really interesting week, actually.
Yeah, it turned out to be a fun week. So
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Those really help us. And comment on the video. Let us know what you guys liked, disliked, what we could do different. And if you guys have any other ideas, let us know. So that'll do it for us. Andrew, send us off.
Hey, thanks for coming in, guys. That was fun.
All right, see you guys.